This
that
was a
much
specific crash on
in
assets
value
associated with Alameda Research
in a year?
rather than all assets. And so, even correlated hedges had limited use there, and a run on the bank at the same time. And all of that are things, in retrospect, I should have expected might happen in an extreme scenario, because that's how markets work. And we've seen other examples of that in history, where when things get really bad, they get really bad for all of the relevant things at once in a very direct and correlated and quick way.
Yeah, he's saying, yeah, I should have. I wish I sold
acquisition for a moment. How
earlier
much
so I
money
could
do you
get out of
think
this mess?
Alameda, I'd say that they had a lot of FTT, but that Alameda had borrowed from BlockFi at the time of the bailout?
I honestly don't know, but I would have guessed like 100 million, maybe a couple hundred million, but I honestly don't know the answer to that. I wasn't like running Alameda, I wasn't paying detailed attention. That's my guess.
And were you using FTT and Serum and other things to collateralize the loans at BlockFi, do you think? I mean, this goes to the whole idea of both the value of these things and also whether you were trying to buy BlockFi,
He's really
in fact, to continue to support effectively Alameda over FTX.
Kind of
it
persona.
Might be. I would guess it was.
Like
but,
apologetic.
But, to your point,
guy
my guess is that the amount paid for BlockFi was probably bigger.
Like
than
the dog ate the
amount
homework, my cow sitting on my computer.
I mean, I don't know that for sure. Again, but
I didn't do the
I
paper.
wasn't even looking at what that number was.
I wasn't
really,
looking.
But I think that's about
I messed
right.
up. I'm sorry.
I want to go back to the Alameda piece of it for just another moment, if you'd stick with me here.
Maybe my mom and dad can help
fix it. You told investors and regulators that you were not involved in Alameda decision making, and yet in the case, Alameda invested $1.15 billion in Genesis digital assets without your consultation or approval.
He has
that's
to
the
have
question.
really paid off
my understanding is you also
many
served on the board
officials.
Of Genesis digital assets.
So many government officials to be doing this, because he has done so much illegal stuff worldwide and in the United States. Yet he's just being like, he's trying to get away with it. If you hacked the FTX exchange for like 600 million in Ethereum, which sources say he did, why would if you didn't have like a good feeling that you paid off people enough that you'll be able to get out of this situation somehow, or get a slap on the wrist of a fine or some sort of charge, you'd be long gone. You'd be in Dubai or Costa Rica. I mean, I don't know where you'd be. Antarctica maybe, but this
assets. And so I'm trying to understand how you wouldn't have been involved with Alameda.
So I was somewhat involved with venture investing.
There
and that was done out of a separate entity than
instead of saying I
any
was
of
involved.
Alameda's proprietary trading, than its activity on FTX or other crypto exchanges. But I was consulted on some of its VC investments, including with GDA.